Hello, my lovely people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jane. This is the first time that you are seeing me. Thank you so much for stopping by, my return subscribers. I love you. So this is a video that I got it. I think I got it like 2-3 weeks ago, and I saved it. Ecowas didn't see the no. They will not see this. How can they see this? In Togo, this is the problem that Togo is having right now. The president that used to be there before the one that is there now is the father of this president that was there for 38 years. This one now, which is the son, has been there for 20 years. And then he's changed the constitution and moved himself from the presidency to a position where nobody can change him. And that position is the one that will be making the rules. The person that they stand there as their president will only stand there to welcome some people, but the person don't have a say of any kind. Ecowas is seeing all this and did nothing about it. I need you guys to watch it so that people, when you are voting, you know who you are voting for. Between this man and the father, the father was 38 years. He is 20 years and counting. 48, 58, almost 60 years. And this man positioned himself now where he will. But Ecowas did not say anything. But Ecowas want to go to Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger and put problem in there for trying to protect their people. But they will not call this man to stand. And this man is probably in Ecowas. This man, they are all seeing. They are proving all this. But they cannot say anything about it. They cannot ask this man, no, enough is enough. There's no way you can continue to be here. But they keep attacking president of Burkina Faso. They keep attacking Mali. They keep attacking Niger. The people that have put their lives in danger to protect their people. They are people that have put their lives on the line to make sure that their country is protected. And ECOWAS is just sitting there. They are ECOWAS. Everything has to go through them. And the Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger Republic is saying, no, I need you guys to hear what this man has done. I have this video for like 2 weeks, but I want you guys to see it. And then go to ECOWAS or whatever, and sure to give ECOWAS thumbs down. They have, how do I put what they have done? They have done. Everything that they are created to be is just opposite. Abraham Traoré has seen it, and Abraham Traoré has seen what they are. That's why he moved out and said, no, with this, Africa will never stay together. And ECOWAS is doing everything to separate Africa the more. I need you guys to see this. I need you guys to see what their citizens are doing to liberate themselves, because in everywhere in the world, the citizens are the only one that can liberate themselves, that can liberate their people, liberate their mother, their children. It's only the citizens, and nobody can do it, no matter what they tell you. I need you guys to watch, and as you're watching, please help me share it from me to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Since June 26th, the streets of Lomé have been ablaze with the fire of resistance. Civic groups report that over 100 political prisoners now languish in Togo's jails, their only crime being their demand for freedom and dignity. The Hands Off My Constitution coalition, a grassroots movement, has become the voice of a people fed up with a regime that has robbed them of their democratic rights and plunged them into economic despair. The April 2024 constitutional reforms, widely condemned as a constitutional coup, are at the heart of this unrest. These reforms rammed through Togo's National Assembly, abolished presidential elections, and created a new powerful role: President of the Council of Ministers. In May 2025, Faure Gnassingbé, who has ruled Togo for 20 years following his father's 38-year reign, assumed this position. With no term limits and no need for elections, Gnassingbé has effectively crowned himself ruler for life, a move that critics say ensures the Gnassingbé dynasty's stranglehold on power for generations to come. As one protester, speaking anonymously to avoid retaliation, told me, Faure thinks he can crown himself emperor, but the people of Togo are not his subjects. We are a free people, and we will fight until he is gone. This is not the first time Faure Gnassingbé has tampered with Togo's constitution to entrench his power. Since seizing control in a military-backed coup in 2005 following his father's death, he has rewritten the constitution 4 times. In 2005, to legitimize his coup and consolidate power. In 2007, to centralize authority further in his hands. In 2019, to introduce cosmetic term limits, a move that deceived the international community and opposition into believing he was embracing democratic reforms. In 2024, to abolish presidential elections entirely, shifting Togo to a parliamentary system where, as head of the ruling Union for the Republic, UNA party, Gnassingbé could claim the presidency indefinitely. Just 2 weeks after the 2024 constitutional changes, Gnassingbé orchestrated parliamentary elections that his party claimed won 97% of the seats. A result so brazen it could only be described as a mockery of democracy. As one Togolese activist, Faure Gnassingbé has turned Togo into his personal kingdom. He's not a president. He's a dictator cloaked in democratic robes. The Togolese people's anger is not just about political repression. The cost of living crisis, exacerbated by rising food and fuel prices, has pushed millions into poverty. Videos circulating online show security forces brutally beating protesters, while internet restrictions have been imposed to silence dissent. The Hands Off My Constitution coalition has demanded not only Gnassingbé's resignation, but also the release of political prisoners and urgent action to address the economic hardship gripping the nation. "We cannot eat constitutions," one protester shouted during a rally in Lomé. "We want jobs, food and freedom." As Togo burns, where is Ecowas, the regional bloc tasked with promoting democracy and good governance in West Africa? The Economic Community of West African States, founded in 1975 to foster economic and political integration, has once again exposed its hypocrisy. Time and again, Ecowas has remained silent as dictators like Gnassingbé brutalize their citizens, suppress freedom of expression and rig elections. Yet, when a coup overthrows one of these autocrats, Ecowas springs into action with sanctions and threats of military intervention, not to protect the people, but to shield its fellow elites. The Ecowas Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance explicitly states that freedom of expression, association and access to information are inalienable rights. Yet, where was Ecowas when Gnassingbé banned protests in 2022? Where was it when he sent soldiers to kill unarmed protesters in June 25? Where was it when he flushed Togo's constitution down the toilet? Instead of holding Gnassingbé accountable, Ecowas issued a feeble statement on June 28, 2025, calling for dialogue between the Togolese people and a regime that has oppressed them for nearly 6 decades. Dialogue? After 24 failed dialogues between 1991 and 2019? As one Togolese youth leader declared on Facebook, "There will be no more dialogue with a tyrant. Faure must go. This is non-negotiable." Ecowas's silence on Togo's crisis is no surprise. The bloc has long been accused of being a tool of Western powers, particularly France, which has historically propped up autocratic regimes in Francophone West Africa to maintain its influence. Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger cited this very reason when they announced their withdrawal from Ecowas in January 2024. Accusing the bloc of being subservient to France and failing to address the region's security and economic challenges. Their exit, formalized on January 29, 2025, marked a seismic shift in West African geopolitics as these 3 nations form the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, a confederation built on the principles of sovereignty, self-reliance and people-centered governance. In a development that has stunned observers across the continent, Togo is now positioning itself to join the AES, a move that could reshape the geopolitical map of West Africa. Togolese Foreign Minister Robert Dussey confirmed this intention in March 2025, stating on social media, Togo plans to join the AES, or a strategic decision that could strengthen regional cooperation and provide member countries with access to the sea. This announcement followed earlier hints in January 2025, when Dussey said Togo's membership in the AES was not impossible. A March 2025 poll reportedly showed that the majority of Togolese favoured joining the AES, seeing it as a pathway to greater sovereignty and economic opportunities. For the landlocked AES nations, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, access to Togo's port in Lomé would be a game changer, reducing their reliance on coastal neighbours like Ivory Coast and Benin, which have been accused of aligning too closely with Western powers. Togo has already taken steps to strengthen ties with the AES, signing an agreement with Burkina Faso in May 2025 to eliminate roaming charges for calls between the two countries. There are also plans to establish an interconnected customs area, allowing AES countries to use Lomé's port without prohibitive tariffs. But here's the rub. Can Togo, under the leadership of Faure Gnassingbé, truly align with the revolutionary ideals of the AES? The AES, formed in September 2023 as a mutual defence pact and later expanded into a confederation in July 2024, is led by three military leaders: Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali, and General Abdourahmane Chiani of Niger, who have captured the imagination of Africans across the continent. These leaders, who came to power through coups in 2021, 2022 and 2023 respectively, have positioned themselves as champions of anti-imperialism, rejecting Western influence and prioritizing the needs of their people. The Alliance of Sahel States is not just another regional bloc, it is a bold experiment in African self-determination. Unlike Ecowas, which has been criticized for its bureaucratic inertia and alignment with Western interests, the AES is built on four pillars: collective security, economic integration, cultural and educational identity, and financial sovereignty. In less than 2 years, the AES has achieved what ECOWAS and the African Union have failed to accomplish in decades. In January 2025, the AES announced the creation of a 5,000-strong joint military unit to combat jihadist insurgencies that have plagued the Sahel for years. This force, leveraging the strengths of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, is a direct response to ECOWAS's failure to address the region's security challenges. Unlike ECOWAS, which relied on Western-backed interventions, the AES is forging its own path, with leaders like Traoré framing the fight against terrorism as a war of decolonization. AES Passport. On January 29, 2025, the AES introduced a biometric passport system for its citizens, simplifying travel between Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. This move, which coincided with the bloc's formal withdrawal from ECOWAS, symbolizes the AES's commitment to regional integration and an independent identity. As Mali's Goïta declared, "We're moving beyond individual national identities. Instead of citizens of Mali, Burkina Faso or Niger, we'll refer to ourselves as people of the AES." New anthem and flag. The AES has adopted a new anthem and flag, powerful symbols of its break from the colonial past and its vision for a unified Sahel. These cultural markers resonate deeply with a generation of Africans yearning for pride and self-determination. Path to a common currency. The AES is laying the groundwork for a new currency to replace the CFA franc, a colonial relic tied to France. In May 2025, energy regulators from the three countries met in Bamako to harmonise policies on energy security and promote renewable energy, a step toward economic self-reliance. The creation of the Confederal Bank for Investment and Development, BCID AES, in May 2025 further underscores the AES's ambition to finance critical infrastructure and development projects without relying on Western institutions like the IMF or World Bank. Analysts predict that this currency, if successfully implemented, could become one of the strongest in West Africa, challenging the economic dominance of coastal ECOWAS states. Economic and social reforms. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso has nationalised gold mines, built a tomato processing plant, and launched a 5-year plan to construct 55 modern communal hospitals. Mali and Niger are following suit, with initiatives to boost agricultural self-sufficiency and reduce dependence on foreign aid. These reforms have led to robust economic projections, with Burkina Faso's economy expected to grow at 8% annually from 2025 to 2043, lifting 2.4 million people out of poverty. The AES's achievements have made it a beacon of hope for many Africans, particularly the youth, who see it as a counterweight to the neo-colonial structures of Ecowas and the African Union. Unlike these older institutions, which are often paralysed by bureaucracy and external influence, the AES is nimble, people-centric, and unapologetically anti-imperialist. Its leaders have expelled French military forces, terminated exploitative agreements, and pivoted toward partnerships with Russia, Turkey, and China. This shift has not come without cost. Captain Traoré, in particular, has faced multiple assassination attempts, with Burkina Faso's authorities foiling a major coup plot in April 2025. Yet, these threats only underscore the AES's growing influence and the West's desperation to maintain its grip on the Sahel. At the heart of this revolution of AES, at just 37 years old, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has become a global icon of African resistance. His rise to power in Burkina Faso's September 2022 coup was not just a change of government, it was a declaration of war against neo-colonialism. Traoré's reforms, nationalising gold mines, banning colonial-era barrister wigs, and establishing the Postal Bank of Burkina Faso, have struck a chord with Africans tired of seeing their resources plundered by foreign powers. His fiery speeches, like the one at the 2023 Russia-Africa Summit, where he urged African leaders to stop behaving like puppets, have gone viral, earning him admiration not only in Africa, but also among anti-imperialist activists in the global south, and even some in the West. Traoré's popularity is rooted in his authenticity. Unlike Nassing Bey, who lives in opulence while his people starve, Traoré has rejected a salary increase, choosing to live on his military captain's earnings. His focus on grassroots development, education, healthcare and food security has won him the hearts of Burkinabe, with 66% of citizens supporting military rule in a 2023 Afrobarometer survey, up from 24% in 2012. At Ghana's President John Mahama's inauguration in January 2025, Traoré received the loudest applause among 21 African heads of state, a testament to his growing influence. Mali's Colonel Assimi Goïta and Niger's General Abdourahmane Chiani share Traoré's vision. Goïta has emphasized the AES's people-centric approach, declaring, "An attack on one of us is an attack on all." Chiani, who accused Ecowas of failing to protect citizens from terrorism, has overseen Niger's pivot toward Russia for security assistance. Together, these leaders have turned the AES into a symbol of African dignity, rejecting the CFA franc, expelling French troops, and challenging the Western-dominated global order. In stark contrast, Faure Gnassingbé is the antithesis of the AES's revolutionary ethos. While Traoré, Goïta and Chiani have risked their lives to break free from Western influence, Gnassingbé's regime is seen as a relic of the old order, a francophone elite propped up by France and protected by Ecowas. His constitutional manipulations, brutal crackdowns, and economic mismanagement have alienated Togo's youth, who are now taking to the streets to demand change. The AES's leaders are unlikely to welcome a leader like Gnassingbé, whose actions mirror the very neo-colonial tendencies they are fighting against. As one analyst noted, Togo's interest in joining the AES is driven by strategic opportunism, not ideological alignment. Gnassingbé sees the AES as a shield against ECOWAS's pressure to restore democratic norms. But the AES is not a club for dictators seeking to escape accountability. Its charter emphasizes mutual assistance and sovereignty, not the perpetuation of dynastic rule. For Togo to join the AES, Gnassingbé would need to step down, paving the way for a leadership that aligns with the alliance's principles. The AES's rapid rise has sent shockwaves through Western capitals, particularly Paris and Washington. France, which has long treated Francophone Africa as its backyard, has been humiliated by the expulsion of its troops from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The United States, through its AFRICOM military wing, has faced setbacks, including its withdrawal from a key base in Niger in July 2024. The AES's pivot toward Russia, Turkey, and China for military and economic partnerships has further eroded Western influence, making the alliance a geopolitical thorn in the side of the global north. The AES's joint military force and focus on self-reliance offer a new approach to a problem that Ecowas and Western interventions have failed to solve. The West's fear of the AES is not just about losing influence, it's about the precedent it sets. If the AES succeeds in building a prosperous, independent Sahel, it could inspire other African nations to follow suit, dismantling the neo-colonial architecture that has kept Africa subservient for centuries. As Togo teeters on the edge of chaos, the question remains: can it join the AES under Gnassingbé's leadership? The answer is a resounding: the AES is not a refuge for dictators, it is a movement for the people. Gnassingbé's alignment with Ecowas, and by extension Western powers, makes him anathema to the revolutionary ideals of Traoré, Goïta and Chiani. For Togo to join the AES, it must first shed the chains of dynastic rule. The Togolese people, through their courage and resilience, are already paving the way. Their protests are not just a rejection of Gnassingbé, they are a cry for a new Togo, one that embraces the sovereignty, unity and self-determination embodied by the AES. My brothers and sisters, the struggle in Togo is a microcosm of Africa's broader fight for liberation. The AES represents a new dawn, a chance to build a West Africa free from the clutches of neocolonialism. But for Togo to join this movement, it must first cast off the yoke of Gnassingbé's tyranny. The people of Togo have spoken. Faure must go, and when he does, Togo can take its rightful place among the revolutionary nations of the Sahel, marching hand in hand toward a future where Africa's resources, dignity, and destiny belong to its people. Let us stand in solidarity with the Togolese people, let us amplify their voices, and let us support the AES as it charts a bold, unapologetic path toward an Africa that is truly free. African leaders must heed the lessons from Togo's turmoil and the alliance of Sahel states' AES revolutionary ascent. The protests in Lomé, sparked by Faure Gnassingbé's constitutional manipulations to perpetuate his family's 58-year rule, exposed the dangers of dynastic governance and disregard for the people's will. Leaders must prioritize democratic accountability, respecting term limits and free elections, or risk the wrath of a youth demanding change. Togo's bid to join the AES, led by visionary leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Colonel Assimi Goïta, and General Abdourahmane Chiani, underscores the need for genuine sovereignty. The AES's achievements, a joint military force, biometric passport, and path to a common currency, show what Africa can achieve when leaders reject neo-colonial influence and prioritize their people. African leaders must emulate this model, focusing on self-reliance, regional unity, and economic empowerment